today. Welcome to the Mirror Point, where reality checks itself, where illusion meets confusion and somehow becomes enlightenment, right? So, this is just a weekly reminder that you're not actually who you think you are. Sorry. Anyways.
I think this stuff is very fascinating and interesting because, like I said in the comments, I had this very experience of that concept when I did DMT, right? I felt like reality was a feeble attempt at recreating actual reality. You see what I'm saying? Like we were.
Yeah, I remember you told me that. You told me that a few years ago. I remember you told me that.
Yeah, it was like we were just like babies playing with blocks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
man.
Sure.
It's really fascinating because it's an intersection. So science and mysticism is now sort of intersecting. And philosophy, metaphysics, all this stuff is intersecting together, which is really exciting.
I actually did want to address some of these comments that have been left, if you don't mind. Real quick.
Absolutely. Which one?
He says, what materialism doesn't remove the ability to be careful about the divide between logic and existential predicate. Is that what it says? Sorry, my eyes. So, no one said that, but what you do have to realize though is that materialism is also just a philosophy. You do get that, right? So just wanted to say that and point that out. Mm-hmm. And what else did he say? Idealism of ideas and materialism are not mutually exclusive. In all ages, there have been people who understood that formalization can't get you there. And what else?
Well, idealism to me isn't really a formalism. I think it's just an acknowledgement that, or it's a metaphysical axiom that consciousness is the fundamental of reality, right? And it's based on the epistemic view that all we really know is consciousness. All we really know.
But formalization isn't the issue. The issue is that Levin's work, right? What he found is that bioelectric pattern empirically contradict the materialist assumption that matter self-organizes blindly. And he showed this, and we went over a whole show about that. He shows that there's goal-directed pattern memory, error correction, and I don't know this word, teleonomic constraint. Either way it goes, he showed that these organisms had no brain, and even without a brain, there was cognition that we normally would only ascribe to something that's conscious, right? And that's kind of the whole point about his work. So I'm not sure what that guy is really saying.
Well, the existential predicate is a statement whose truth requires that something exists. So I guess what they're saying is that we can make formal assumptions, but we know that consciousness is the way we know we exist. At least we know experience exists because we're experiencing. So even if you doubt existing or doubt you're experiencing, you have to exist in order to have that doubt.
Right, so we're back to that same dead horse. On to the next one. That sounds a lot like objective ethics in the comments. Let's move on.
Our lab, the research.
Yeah, please. Yeah, so it's a way, it's something you can build on. You can start to actually test things out and do science and see if you can make any sort of predictions and observations on these kind of ideas, rather than sitting in our philosophical armchair and saying, oh, that's just crazy talk. We can actually put the shit to the test and either put it to bed once and for all, or we can find out something, learn something from that shit. Instead of just clinging on to our metaphysic like physicalism or something. Like he said, you know, you can do that. You can start cataloging all your emergent properties and saying, oh, well, these are just emergent properties, whatever that means. And you just list them in a category and ignore them. Or you can actually test them and find out if there's something to it, you know. And I think this kind of reveals that even scientists sometimes have an emotional need to be attached to their metaphysical philosophies and stuff, and they don't even realize it.
And things like that.
But wait a minute, I thought there were no physical things, that everything's just in our mind, remember?
Okay, but I just wanted to clarify some things just for my own understanding so that I don't stay stupid.
Yeah.
Just to get this right. So when he's saying what he's saying, what are we talking about? You know, are we talking about that what we call physical objects aren't fundamental entities? Are we saying that their interface is generated by stable patterns? The same way, for example, a phone screen isn't the system itself. It's the presentation layer produced by deeper processes. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
So matter equals the appearance. Pattern is the underlying structure. And then consciousness is the interpreter of the structure, right?
Right.
So when we're talking about Michael Levin's bioelectric networks as pattern memories, we're saying cells behave according to stored pattern level information, not local chemistry. And then the thing is the pattern. And then cognitive science, the brain doesn't see objects. It detects predictable regularities and then generates an interface. And in quantum physics, God dang, I'm dyslexic. Quantum physics. What we call a particle is a stable excitation pattern in a field, not a thing, a formation. Okay, I'm kind of getting it. So basically, objects aren't fundamental, patterns are. The physical world is just the interface consciousness uses to interact with those patterns.
Frequency is a patterned oscillation, and patterns shape and structure a wave, for example. So
right, yeah. and the reason I operate like that, you know, I've been learning this. It's because of severe trauma and my nervous system. So a lot of times my nervous system will pick up on patterns, especially if it's danger or it thinks that there is danger. And then my mind will catch up with it later. Like my nervous system picks up on it first. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm learning this through therapy, how your nervous system works when you have PTSD and things like that. And that's why people with PTSD develop this type of stuff. It's because of your nervous system.
Yeah, that's why, like in my book, you know, by the way, guys, go out and get my book, man. I put the link to my book in the description below, so check it out. It's only $5. I just wanted to put it out there and get everybody to take a look at the viewpoint, the perspective, and get familiar with the perspective that we promote. But
I think it's true. Physical things are interfaces through which consciousness expresses itself. That, I mean, he's saying it all complicated and it's hard to follow, but I mean, that's what he's saying when you break it down into the most simplistic way of saying it.
Mm-hmm. So we're not really creating consciousness when we give birth to children. We're not creating anything, really. We're not creating the consciousness. The consciousness just uses the embryo and develops it. As it develops, it starts to view the world through consciousness. So consciousness sort of supervenes, or the physical supervenes on it. So he's using the word ingress, so it ingresses onto.
And he also used the language. He said that, you know, whenever we're creating, you know, or making new bodies or whatever, or making anything, robots, it's pulling down minds. He said, he used the word pulling down, and it kind of reminds me of my, I'm still working on this. I haven't, you know, rolled this out yet, but my hierarchy of consciousness. He's saying it's from the top down. You're pulling it down from somewhere else, right?
Right.
That's what I noticed when he said that word pull down. That's actually what he's saying. It's from the top down.
Well, what do you think this says about artificial intelligence then? Could we be pulling down minds and we're not even know what we're doing? Like, it seems like you should be really careful. Like, there's no way to predict what kind of mind could come out of a system like a computer, like a really intelligent, you know, pattern, like an artificial intelligence sort of machine. You could be pulling down a mind.
Well, like I said, we've discussed this before, and I think that, you know, the interface would have to be just right. I'm not sure that we're there yet. You know, if it does happen, it would definitely be, I don't think it could just pop into consciousness. Like he said, we don't create consciousness. But that's just another way of saying that consciousness doesn't emerge from the material, right?
Right. It chooses the material. So it's almost like it's the other way around. So
it creates its own interface. It's basically like, if you want to get from point A to point B faster than your fucking legs, you create an automobile, which is another type of interface that you can use to get there quicker. And that's basically what he's saying is happening, right?
Yeah.
For him, it is so radical because we've been so indoctrinated to think this way, and that has been the leading, you know, theory. But again, I would like to remind people like him that classical materialism is, after all, only a philosophy. The hard problem of consciousness, coined by Chalmers, has not been solved. So, to be fair, our position and what Michael Levin is proposing is just as coherent, if not more so. And modern science is going in that direction. So, at the very least, we can say that both sides are very coherent, right? And that should kind of nip it in the bud. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm leaning more towards materialism, or I'm leaning more towards this. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how we, you know, move ahead. That's how we explore and discover more shit.
You know, especially when we come from a culture, like you said, that we've been indoctrinated into this philosophy of classical materialism, you know, and it says it does feel like we are collectively converging onto something. Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's really awesome to be alive at a time like now, you know. So we can sit back and just think that the way reality appears in our mind, we can take that too serious and forget, and it becomes a blind spot, and we forget that the only thing we truly know is that we're having an experience, and the rest of the stuff is just could be an illusion. You know, it could be just, it's not that it's an illusion as in it's not real, but it's real, but it just appears in a way that maybe it's not really that way on the outside. Maybe we're just,
it may be imperfect. It may be missing information. It's not the whole picture. Not an illusion as, oh, it doesn't exist. It's completely fake. Physical
that's
reality.
What we run around, but that's what we run around and say, right?
Yeah, I guess some people think that, but it's just like, I always use metaphors and examples because I really talk from like my own experience, and I try to relate to these things through my own experience. So I use like examples for example, right? If you know somebody, right? Just some guy, you just met them for the first time. The way that I pretty much evolved is a little bit differently due to trauma. Mm-hmm. So what happens is my nervous system picks up on shit that I consciously haven't even picked up on. And
intuition.
Even though that person may appear completely peaceful, smiling in your face and saying all the right things, Sophia don't operate like that though. Sophia see shit before she sees it. And so
Sophia don't play that shit.
The way my shit works, I'm gonna detect the micro expressions. I'm gonna read between the pauses that you just made. And if it's weird in any kind of way, my nervous system is going off. Like, okay, alert, alert, alert. And then it's gonna translate that in a way, it's gonna integrate that information. And my brain is gonna come up with some shit, whatever the hell it comes up with. And 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say, it always works that way. And I don't do this on purpose. It's just how it happens.
No.
So in other words,
I was just gonna say,
the point is, a person can stand in front of you and look like a human being and actually be thinking about wanting to cut your fucking throat. And just by looking at that person, you'll never know. And so that's what we're saying. Just because reality appears a certain way, the physical reality, that doesn't mean that it necessarily is telling you the whole fucking story, right?
Yeah, but then they say a lot of people though, they never develop that intuitive intelligence, like to see those things you're talking about, because they're given to the words so much. They listen to so much of the words, and they want to be lied to. Like some people just want to hear what they want to hear, and they hear what they want to hear from people, and they're not paying attention to the little cues that you could pick up on, you know?
Yeah, but that's because we're very intellectual nowadays. It's all about the intellect, and intelligence is all we focus on. And because of that, we miss a lot of the other shit, you know?
It's more important.
Everything about life teaches us that we're not in control. That's why the hell we die. What can you do to prevent your death? Not a damn thing. But see, that's the thing that I would like people to realize. The ego is exactly that. It's just a tool. It's just an interface. It's not your actual identity. Of course, the ego is needed. That is your interface. That is how you get around in this physical world. That's how you know you got to take steps to walk and all this other shit, right? But at the end of the day, is that really who you are? No, it's not really who you are. The ego shouldn't define, you know, how you feel towards your partner or your child, or the remorse you feel when you see a homeless person,
your
or whatever.
With the world. Right. And see, I think the world could be a better place if we actually, maybe if we did strip down our ego a little bit, and we did sort of take a look at it different. Maybe we live in a different world.
I wouldn't even say that it needs to be stripped down necessarily. I think that what needs to happen is there needs to be a balance, a good balance.
Yeah.
And just like if you're wearing a shield, right? When you're going to war, you're wearing the shield to get you through the war. But then when you come home with your family, you take that off. Like, why would you keep that on? Right?
Logan, didn't you guys promise more boobies? We sure did. We sure did. I can show you mine.
What did I miss, Logan?
No, last week we had Brooklyn Lou on, and he was talking about, you know, the whole drama between us and Objective Ethics. And he was saying that people don't need to get so mad about this stuff, that it's all entertainment and stuff like that. And so I told him, yeah, we need more boobies on our YouTube channel.
I'm gonna tell your wife, Logan.
Yeah, I was on Lou's channel trying to talk about that. They were asking me that, like, how do you know it exists though? Like, you can't point to it. It's like people who are trying to prove God. Like,
well, it's kind of like gravity. We know gravity exists, but we cannot directly observe it, right? But just try jumping out of a window and tell me if it's real or not.
Exactly.
There are patterns that relate to each other in a particular way. what's, the final step of calling it a space is minimal. The bigger issue is, what the hell's it a map of then if it's not a space? So that's the first thing. Now that's how it plays out, I think, in math and physics. Now in biology, here's how we're going to know if this makes any sense. What we are doing now is trying to map out that space by saying, look, we know that the frog genome maps to one thing, and that's a frog. Turns out that exact same genome, if you just take the slightest step with the exact same genome, but you just take some cells out of that environment, they can also make xenobots with very specific different transcriptomes, very specific behaviors, very specific shapes. It's not just, they do whatever, and then they have very specific behaviors, just like the frog had very specific properties.
He's a lot like a mystic in his own way, and I will explain, because I know he's probably not going to want to be compared to that. Right. But what he's actually doing, he's looking for the lawful structure behind cognition itself. That's what he's doing. Right. And if such a structure exists, which I clearly think it does, then cognition isn't a byproduct of matter at all. It's a deeper pattern that matter interfaces with.
Well, so how does this relate to the concept of God? Because I could see a lot of Christians use something like this as proof of their God or something. Like,
the way I would look at that is, I wouldn't really give a shit if somebody were to say, okay, let's use the word God in its place, right? But the only reason I have an issue with that is because religions are man-made, and the God of the Bible, the Abrahamic gods in general, that is clearly a God that is man-made and in the image of people, right? And so I am just not with that, because that's more like the false God, the idol that we look up to, that we worship, which is to perceive matter as the ultimate reality, and there is no underlying nothing except for this Abrahamic God, right? Which is based on ego. So
well, I can see a lot of people trying to reinterpret it. Like but they'll have a problem, because it'll be special pleading, because what they'll do is they'll say, yeah, but the Bible even says that man was made in the image of God. So it's kind of like the same thing we're seeing here. But then if you look at it deeply, though, it says only man was made in God's image. It doesn't say animals and nature itself.
Well, actually it does. It says in the Bible to observe nature if you want to understand the mind of God. So there you go. I mean, the Bible does have truth in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, throw the whole thing out because it's too confusing. Let's just do it.
You don't need it. We already got it. Yeah.
Fuck all that.
We got it here. We got it. We don't need all that. We got it.
So that's my opinion on that when it comes to
the problem of evil.
Well, the problem of evil, I would say, is simply the unconscious not made conscious. It's incoherence, right? There's a lack of integration,
right?
Or shadow integration, like Carl Jung would call it. That's about all there is to it, I guess. I think.
And I got a chapter on that in my book. Talks about the integration, and I reference a lot of Carl Jung.